Trojan fans, it's a sad day in the neighborhood, and I think it might be time to face a harsh reality. And you need to ask yourself, ask yourself individually, all of you, where are you on the spectrum? 5 stages of grief. Where are you? I know where I'm at.
You are Locked On USC, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Hulkin. We've got MVP 3 Marvin Powell III back. It's Monday. We're going to talk about this past weekend's game. And I want to thank all of you for making a Locked On USC part of the Locked On Network your first listen every single day. Whether you're watching this show on YouTube, wherever you want to download this podcast, do it. It's free. You can find the show on any platform. And I always want to make sure you guys understand how much we appreciate your support. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers, if you can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you're going to get $300 in bonus bets that you can use across the app. Download the app today. All right, so the 5 stages of grief are this. There's denial, there's anger, there's bargaining, there's depression, and there's acceptance. I'll tell you where I'm at, Marvin. After USC's loss to Notre Dame, 34-24, I think I've stepped into stage 5. I'm accepting it. Let me tell you why. So you understand where I'm coming from. USC is now 7 games in to Lincoln Riley's 4th year running the program.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this team is still making the same mistakes they were making when he took over the program, and so when Mike Bone, the former athletic director, Brandon Sosna, his number 1 right-hand man, and President Carol Folt introduced, Coach Riley to everybody, he was supposed to be the savior. Because, think about it. Fan support had waned. I mean, it had dropped to Paul Hackett era levels. And I know it's a touchy subject with you, but I'm kind of lining things up. Clay Helton was literally being talked about in that same discussion of how successful can USC be under this head coach. So I'm starting to get concerned a little bit that the malaise and that apathy is starting up again. So Marvin, walk me off the ledge.
Listen,
what did you see?
I saw us get our butt kicked. I saw Notre Dame run the ball for 10 yards a clip. I saw Notre Dame push us around. I saw those running backs from Notre Dame fighting for yards, leaning. I saw a USC team that was not ready for that huge stage, which was at Notre Dame under the lights, following what was thought to be a really big win against a good Michigan team. Not a great Michigan team, but a good Michigan team. All right, but we didn't answer the call. We didn't answer the bell. We knew they had 2 excellent running backs, one in particular, Love, and you would have thought there was nothing done defensively, schematically in the prior week of practice to stop this guy, because they were just gashing us. All I saw was our defensive players out of position, out of alignment. I saw Notre Dame fire off that ball and control our bigs. We have big guys in the middle. One of the things you heard about in the offseason, in the transfer portal and the guys that are coming back, is we have size now. And we do. And in spite of the thick 6, again, we don't have I don't think with the guys that we brought in transfer portal wise, I don't know if they are athletic enough to play at the level we need them to play at. Because when you see these big bodies, you think that we're going to be stout on the D-line. When you have these big bodies, you're thinking there's no way in the world we get pushed around. We got pushed around like we had, 100-pound defensive linemen, man. You know what I'm saying? So from an offensive standpoint, I didn't, go ahead.
I was going to say, we'll dive deep into the defense in the next segment, but on a holistic level, on a holistic view, did Coach Riley, did he put his team in the best position to win this game? Because I'm thinking about a lot of things. I'm thinking about that 4th down call where he decided to forego the field goal. Look, when you're on the road, take the points. When you're at home, be extra aggressive.
Yeah, but Mark, I understand that, and that's traditional football philosophy. But he's also a guy who's been highly successful on fourth down this year. It's part of who he is. It's part of what we do. You can look at it and say, well, it's a case by case basis. In certain situations, you should kind of get away from it and go to something that's more logical. But he, as an offensive play caller, he had a rhythm, and he felt like, on that first fourth down that we should go for it, And let's be honest, had he made it, we'd be saying, it was gutsy and, we're so good on fourth down and, good way to be aggressive on the road and way to try to, go get those points, early in the game.
Let me ask you, what did you think of his second fourth down attempt?
Was that the one
that failed, by the way? The one where he brought in? Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a horrible play call. Why you're calling a receiver pass going into the boundary?
No, not that one. I'm talking about the one where he brought in
the tight end. Okay, to the tight end.
Yeah.
That one. Yeah, I thought we were going to run the ball. I thought we were set up to run the ball there. Again, you've mentioned it about him being cute, and that's sometimes that's a fair assessment, but this is who he is. This is what it is. You talk about acceptance. Accept this. This is who he is, and for as much as he has adapted to a run game for a lot of these games. We saw him in situations against Notre Dame where we should have ran the ball and he threw it. And it's just I didn't get that. I also don't understand, why do we bring in Hussein Longstreet to run these plays as if Jaden Maiava, who 6'3", decent athlete, why isn't he running this stuff? He's a big dude.
So let me remind you. Coach Riley was asked how come, Jaden didn't really, use his legs, his athleticism last year and the time when he was starting at quarterback. The answer was, well, he was hurt. He was, we didn't want to, he was hurt. That's why we weren't running him. He's not hurt right now.
Right.
And they're not running him. So I think we need to forget the idea that he's a dual threat quarterback. He's a pocket quarterback. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, don't sell something that you don't have. Because you are setting up an expectation level, and one of the worst things you can do in sales is set an expectation level and underdeliver.
But
you'll lose clients.
Right. But with that said, the problem is this: we've seen Jaden Maiava run. We've seen him scramble. And last year, I mean, he had a few plays last year, toward the end of the season, where he scrambled for his life, and he looked great. And he's throwing touchdown passes and getting first down. So, we're as a fan, as someone who's watching this and loves it and understands what we have in a quarterback, I'm wondering why we're not using that guy in there more. It doesn't make. I don't get that. But Mark, let me say this. I watched the game, obviously, in real time with everybody else and, went through the heartbreak. I didn't go to bed till 5 o'clock in the morning just thinking about this and just, being me. But I'm not over the ledge, Mark. We're 7 games in. We're 5-2. I don't necessarily love his press conferences after a loss, to be honest with you. I don't. But he did say something that's true. We're still in position. I mean, at 3-1 in the Big Ten, yeah, Ohio State's looking like a juggernaut, Oregon's looking like a juggernaut, but at 3-1, and having had good games this year, and we've seen, evidence of good players and good team, we have issues at the D line. We cannot stop an elite run game. That's just what it is. So anybody who we play who has an elite,
I thought Michigan had an elite run game.
There's a difference. And with Justin Haynes out, I look at that differently now. Listen, we beat Michigan last week. We beat a good team. I said it out the gate. We beat a good team.
Sure.
Notre Dame was a better team, and we played a better team every week this year. Every single game, we played a better team. It'll be different going into this bye week and after that, but that's what it's been. And I feel like for that 6th game, we answered the bell, but for that 7th game in Notre Dame, we're defending the run with everything we have, but we can't defend the run. And we're committed to the run defensively, but we can't stop the run. So what that tells me is with Notre Dame having 2 elite backs, having a good offensive lineman, that's just going to be our issue. And if we face anybody this year who can run the ball like that, we're going to have problems. I don't think we do, but that's just where right now, that's where we're weak, Mark. But I'm not, guys. We are hurting at D-line, but we're okay. We don't have a horrible team. We're going to bounce back.
Beyond the D-line. Again, it's beyond the D-line. We're going to get into that in the next segment.
Okay.
this is, I guess, my ultimate question. We'll close this segment on this question. Year 4, Game 7. For a long time.
Yeah, right.
What is?
But understand this. Understand what he walked into. Okay,
I get it.
We forget.
What did Indiana have?
I can't tell. I mean, they're number 2 in the country right now.
Right. When Kurt Spagnetti took over that program.
Right. I understand.
So this is my question. What is this team's identity into the 4th year, 7th game? Who are they? What are they? I know what Ohio State is. I know what Oregon is. I know what Alabama is, even if they're not having a great year. If I talk about all these different programs that have been really good for these last 20 years, you know who they are. You know what they are.
Right.
You can't tell me right now. I don't know who USC is, and maybe it's because I'm looking at it from all different angles. When Lincoln Riley took over the program, he helped facilitate getting out of that home and home series with Ole Miss. He tried to get out of the game against LSU, and now it looks like this USC Notre Dame game rivalry is going to be taking a sabbatical. I'll leave it there. I'm not saying they're never going to play again, but it looks like it's coming to a stop. That's not a USC identity of where you're trying to avoid tough games. And I get it, we're in the playoff system, yada, yada, yada. Marvin, this is USC. You expect to play the best teams in the country, and you expect to compete with them, not do everything in your power to give the game away. And Notre Dame tried to give that game to USC last night.
They did. They had many errors on their own part. They give us so many opportunities, with their own failed special teams and just penalties and yeah. I mean, listen, every time we threw the ball down the field, it was a PI. And I thought that was probably part of the strategy. Let's just get flags because they can't cover us. But obviously, that at the end of the day, Gray had 2 interceptions and throwing it hurt us. We couldn't run the ball, Mark. I mean, let's just be honest. We couldn't run the ball. We were so hyped off of the Michigan game with Miller that we assumed and thought we'd have the same kind of success against Notre Dame, and we couldn't run the ball, and that impacts play action pass. That impacts us. Now we're in 3rd and long. Now we're in predictable situations. Having Waymo out hurt us because where he's really good is in areas where it's a 1 yard gain, but he turns it into a 2.5 yard gain. We really don't appreciate his wiggle. Being serious with you, we don't understand, how good he is in small spaces. And we could have used him in this type of game. He would have made a tremendous difference. Miller is a home run hitter. King Miller is a home run hitter. That's his game. He runs tough, runs hard. I like him. I think there's a difference between being the backup and going to the game as a starter. I think mentally, I've been that guy, so I know what that's like. You look at it.
I hear you.
Yeah. I hear you. And Brian Jackson, I think he's our guy.
He's not healthy.
Okay, well, yeah, because I would have said let's play him over King Miller, but now we're looking at freshmen. I mean, listen, we have to get healthy in the running back room because that is our identity. Running the ball is our identity, Mark. That's what it started out being, right? That's what that's what we did with Waymo. We ran the ball. Look at the play calls. They were split 50-50, for at least the first 5-6 games of the season. So that's who we are, Mark. We run the ball, but when we couldn't run the ball this week, and that hurt us because we haven't been in a situation at all this year where we really couldn't run the ball. Maybe Illinois,
but that's 2 games on the road where USC got manned. I'm trying to be as nice about this as possible. They had their manhood taken from them. Notre Dame punched USC in the mouth. USC punched back, but they didn't punch last. I guess maybe it's the fairest way of putting it.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't execute what we needed to on defense or on offense. Again, and all that was just based off the fact that we couldn't run that ball. And after that first few series, I mean, I was a little bit concerned. I mean, we were up at one point, but I was a little concerned just because I didn't see the gains on the ground game, and his whole offense is really based on that. At least that's what I look at this year. And I really underestimated what losing Waymo would be like. I did, and I hate that because at the end of the day, we looked average when there was opportunities to look great. We just,
what everybody's going to remember as we close out this segment is Coach Riley's answer during the press conference. It was a stupid call. It was a stupid call. His words, not mine. His words verbatim.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure what he was thinking. You cannot. I don't know. I'm not going to belabor.
No, he definitely put us in a bad position on that play. So many other options. And again, why not run the ball? Why not just run the ball with Brian Jackson, who was playing in the game? It's short yardage. We could have done a sneak. It was
picked up a big first down, 29-yard pass to Mekhi Lemon.
Right.
And then you run that gimmick. It's like, I don't know. Again, right. Let's we could talk all night, and I'm not in the mood to do that because I just get angry and I keep going back to the first stage of I'm gonna be angry.
No, listen, let me tell you like this. I can promise you this. The players are okay in regards to like the fans, us, me and you, we're pissed off, we're angry, we're emotional. Those guys are in the program. Lincoln addressed this after the game. He addressed, trust me, he addressed it today. These guys are moving on into this bye week. They're moving on to Nebraska. The players are conditioned to move on. They feel the loss. They know we lost. They feel it in the building. I've been there. I know what it's like. But they're also, one step, and it'll be two steps tomorrow into the future. So we're moving on. We have a lot of games to play. We're going to be okay because we're not playing. Listen, let's call it like it is. I don't like saying this, but we're not playing Notre Dame every week. We're not. We have some big games coming up. A big one in 2 weeks on the road. So obviously, being on the road, we want to see: are we going to travel this week? Is our defense going to travel?
We'll talk about that next. We're going to do that coming up now. I definitely want to get on the defense.
Okay.
FanDuel, the NFL season is here, and FanDuel's making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers, if you can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you're going to get $300 in bonus bets that you can use across the entire FanDuel app. You pick how you want to use it. You get to do it. You got the player prop bets. You can build a same-game parlay. You can bet on the futures, even jumping into the action live as it's unfolding. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Business owners, one of the tools that helps make a huge difference for your business is called Quo, formerly known as Open Phone. It's the same great business phone system you've heard me talk about before, just with a new name. And here's why it matters. Because every single missed call is money you're leaving on the table. When every customer's conversation counts, you need a phone system that keeps you connected 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Quo is the #1 business phone system that streamlines customer communications. It works right through an app on your phone, or you can do it on your computer. So there's no more carrying two phones or relying on a landline. Whether you're a solo operator juggling everything or part of a larger team, Quo makes it easy to stay responsive and professional. See why over 90,000 businesses trust Quo, formerly known as Open Phone. Get started free and get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/lockedoncollege. That's quo.com/lockedoncollege. And if you've got extra numbers, you've got existing numbers that you need to port on over, they're going to do that for you at no additional fee. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. All right, Marvin, let's switch sides of the ball, other side of the line of scrimmage. When it comes to the defense, what happened in 1 week's time? I get it. Notre Dame's a better team than Michigan. I don't think they're that much better than Michigan. So is it the Jimmies and Joes, which I think you alluded to earlier in the show, or is it Dan Lynn's X's and O's? Because what I saw, first of all, the scheme had me really confused. I don't know why you're playing a too high safety look when you know they're running the ball.
Yeah,
get extra guys down there in the box.
And every time he went to that, they ran the ball. You know what I'm saying? Which was strange. I mean, listen, Carr, I thought is a young, talented quarterback. I believe that, but I didn't. if anything, let him beat us. Let him. Let's force him to beat us.
Last week, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, force the quarterback to beat us because we know that they're going to live and die on the run game. I think we started out in a 3-backer set. I feel like we got away from that, and and they just gashed us. I mean, we had no answer. It's not the scheme. The Rex Ryan Baltimore Ravens defense that we're running is used by many colleges because the way you're able to attack. And it has been successful versus spread, which every team essentially runs. So it's not the scheme. It's what you alluded to. It's absolutely the genius and the Joes. People don't want to hear this, Mark, but this is the reality. Right now, we have the #1 recruiting class in the nation. Okay,
we're going to rely on freshmen in next year to make the
no, Mark, hear me out. This is heartbreaking. You can't trust a freshman in year one. That's not what it is. We're looking really, when you look at, the impact of what we've been able to do with Chad Bowden and Jen Cohen and NIL and in recruiting, we're looking at a 2-year deal with these guys. So the reality is the freshmen who will be here in the fall, who are the #1 recruiting class, you really can't look at them until they go through a full season, a full off season, and then another training camp, So now we're talking about 2027 until we can really get elite level, top ranked athletes in there. Right now, we have guys. We have guys who will be drafted on offense and defense. But again, we bet heavy on this defense in the portal, and we bet wrong. That's true. We bet wrong.
You're absolutely correct. Okay. You're absolutely right. The 2 guys that they brought in from Kentucky and Georgia, respectively, Keyshawn Silver, Jaw Jarrett, other than the thick 6, not getting that run stoppage that you needed.
No,
and here's what bothers me. And it's the tackling. They're always out of position. It was atrocious. And I get it. They were being held like no tomorrow yesterday. There was a lot of holding going on. But our linebackers, if Eric Gentry wasn't out there, oh my God, how bad would they be?
Yeah. And Gentry, again, he's in the middle of a great year, I think, overall. I don't, he made plays. I don't know if this was his best game, but he made plays. Essentially for us, we're just not strong enough, big enough, talented enough, physical enough to stop a real run game. I'm watching the game. I'm seeing our guys get, being beat one-on-one blocks. I mean, one-on-one blocks. I'm seeing Notre Dame's linemen and tight end with hands in the chest, controlling our guys and just pushing them back around them off, And my thing is, again, it comes down to the players. The players matter. But I'm like, Henny, all I heard about is, all I saw was Aaron Donald in commercials talking about what you did for him. Do that for us now. Henny, I love you, baby. I'm happy we have you. Hope we get to keep you. But we got to figure something out in the middle with these guys. All I heard about was our depth at D tackle. How many guys we got. I saw. I think it's Floyd. Well, I know we lost Floyd, but
here's the thing: they're not getting what they wanted from Jarrett and from Silver, so they're running Devin Tompkins and Jade Abasiri as both tackles. Neither one of them you want lined up over the ball. And they've even moved Thanos, Jakeem Stewart inside.
Yeah.
That defensive line, it's not just inside. I'm not sure we're getting a return on our investment from those edges. You don't call anything Lucas's name very often during the game. And every now and then Cam Crawford and Braylon Shelby do, make some plays. But again, we're deep enough into it. All of these guys, save for the guys who came over from the SEC during the transfer portal this offseason, the second year in the system. They got to be doing better. I need to see more.
Right. No, I get it.
Yeah, Notre Dame was starting center. Against the run, they were missing their best run stopper. USC just got their butts kicked in the trenches.
Right.
And that's what bothers me the most.
And listen, let me say this. Notre Dame beat us. I don't make excuses about anything. This is a black and white matter. They went in there and we was black and blue after that. Man, those refs killed me. That was just unbelievable. I mean, the kickoff return, that was a game changer. And then we had like 3 guys being held. You know what I mean? Well,
on top of that, the guys being held, you have number 14 literally had the guy wrapped up and he just slid right off of him. You got to hang on like it's for dear life so your guys can get there and finish the play for you.
Yeah.
It's the fundamentals. They're not.
Yeah. Listen, I said it to in the last episode with you, Mark. We have this all-star defensive coaching staff. I mean, we campaigned these guys around, paraded them like, this was Nick Saban 2015 Alabama staff, who had all those assistants who turned out to be good head coaches. Listen, I believe in our coaches. I don't think our season is done. I don't think we made bad hires, but everybody has to get better, Mark. And I mean, everybody, Lincoln Riley, Danton Lynn, Rob Bell, we have to, everybody, this is on everybody, because when you lose and make the mistakes that we made, it's either we're teaching it or we're allowing it. I don't understand that, I saw, again, I think what hurts me the most is seeing our guys lose one-on-one battle consistently. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand that. How Notre Dame is able to play at a different level of physicality, and they did. It looked like they were coached better, and I hate to say that. We were definitely out coached. That's not even a question, because Marcus Freeman didn't make the same mistakes that Lincoln Riley made at all, and Lincoln made a few of them. Yeah. And I know I'm going back to the offense, but I think about the totality of the game and everything that happened. And I'm upset at offense. I'm upset because we couldn't run the ball. I'm upset at the defense because we couldn't stop the run, and I'm upset with special teams just because we gave up a run even though we got held. And we have this phenomenal kicker who we didn't use at the beginning of the game for the field goal. And again, this is going back and forth on that. It's frustrating because you look at our team for what we could be. You look at the guys who we have and what we could be. You look at then you apply that. You add in the coaching staffs and their resume, and it's like, how do we have this horrific loss in Illinois? How do we have this? I don't want to call it wasn't a blowout, but they bullied us, man.
It felt like one, even after USC took the lead late, in the third quarter. It felt like a blowout.
It did.
Because again, Notre Dame, I don't know. No.
Well, Mark, I'm like this. I don't want to
the next point. You kick the ball out of bounds twice. You take the lead, and then immediately you give up a 102-yard kickoff return. That just it sucks the life. It sucks all the momentum out of your team, and I think it makes them start to question: is it us or is it the staff? And that's my segue into the next segment for the question: how is the coaching staff going to attack the bye week? That's coming up next. Mm-hmm. Most people, I know I can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's their 401k, properties, investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's where there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean and easy-to-use interface on your laptop, on your phone. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all of your accounts in minutes. You can see clear data visuals, and you can get smart categorization, about your spending, and then you'll finally maybe feel in control of your money without even touching a spreadsheet. Here's a really cool feature I think everyone will love. It'll help you save money. When you link all of your accounts to Monarch, it's going to immediately spot a few subscriptions you might be doubled up on. They'll cancel those for you. You'll save money right away. I'm telling you, do not let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com. Just use code LOCKEDONCollege. Okay, Marvin. So I set it up as we went to the break there. USC's going into another bye week, and then they're going to hit the road again. This time they're going to Nebraska. Nebraska just got embarrassed at Minnesota. I think their offensive line gave up 9 sacks. Nine. Okay, yeah. That's a lot of sacks in one game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How is USC's coaching staff going to attack this next week? Make sure they haven't lost the team.
Yeah.
I don't think they've lost it, but make sure that they have their attention and understand, look, win your next 5 games, there's a good chance you're going to the playoffs.
Right. So I don't think we're anywhere close to like losing a team. That's not, these guys are 5-2. They're not 2-5. USC fans, let's remember that. Okay. We're 5-2, not 2-5. And as you just said, Mark, the truth is we're still in contention. for a playoff spot if things continue to play out in college football, like they've been playing out, where every single week top teams are losing. Everybody's there are upsets every single week.
Right.
We went out. No, we have a spot. Offensively in this bye week, we need to start looking at these other backs. If Brian Jackson is hurt, and I'm not down on King Miller. I'm with King Miller. You know,
there was a reason he wasn't recruited heavily out of high school. Right. It is what it is.
Exactly.
He's a late bloomer.
And I think we have a guy here, a freshman, Harry Dalton, and another freshman. I think you're going to see these guys getting some reps this week in practice. I think that makes sense. I think we need to find other answers in the run game if we don't have Waymo, who is one of the best backs in the conference, if not the country. Defensively, you said it. Nebraska gave up 9 sacks. Dylan Raiola, their quarterback, is a guy who we recruited. I think he's a big kid. Doesn't seem super athletic. If you're getting sacked 9 times, then you must be, in that pocket and not move around too much. But yeah, we need to focus on blitz packages. I mean, that obviously their offense has to go through him, I would believe. I think they have a running back. I haven't watched a lot of them, but if they're giving up 9 sacks to Minnesota, then we better bring it. We better bring it on defense. We better have blitz packages. We better be the aggressor on defense. We better be everything that Notre Dame was this week.
No, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Right
up front. Yeah.
I'm just wondering, and again, you don't want somebody to change who they are, but I'm wondering, does Lincoln Riley need to maybe adjust his approach, not be so much a player's coach, where he might need to start putting boot to ass?
Yeah. Well, listen, don't forget, Lincoln Riley, again, I would look at him in many ways as a younger coach just by age. The worst thing that can happen, listen, I'm on the internet, I'm seeing people talking about his buyout and all this crazy stuff. You know what happens? He takes all this experience from Oklahoma, all this experience from USC, and he goes to another school, and they benefit from having a guy with all this experience who's been there, done that, yada, 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 okay? We have our guy. He is who he is. He doesn't have the demeanor of a Nick Saban. He doesn't have the demeanor. He's not Ed O'Dron. He's a new age offensive play caller, quarterback guru who is learning, on the go that you need defense. You better recruit defense. You better hire defensive staff. I mean, he's had to learn this on the job. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And when you look at what he has set up for us for the future, as I said earlier, with the number one recruiting class, and what you've seen with him with the quarterbacks, and what he did with Caleb, what he's doing with Jaden, it's happening, people. And I get it. 7th game, 4th year. We need to stay the course. We need to fight on. We need to chill out. We need to stop being so emotional. It's Notre Dame. We lost bad. I get it, but we're not losing the team. We're going to be okay. We have players. I feel great about going into Nebraska. It is what it is. As long as they don't have a running back named Love, I'm all good.
Okay.
As long as there's no Love, all right, we good, baby.
Well, that's it for this episode, Marvin. I want to thank you again. You pulled me off the ledge. Still a little angry. I'm not sure this is out of my system yet, and it's going to take me a while, but we got a couple weeks to work through this. So I'll be back with another episode tomorrow. That's what we do around here 5 times a week. Also, you get those post-game instant reactions. I see everybody's been watching that. Make sure you're checking out this episode too. Till that next episode of Locked On USC, everyone, you know what to do.
Fight on, y'all. We're going to be okay.
You heard it from Marvin.